Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our blog. I am Jim Cuervo, Senior Trainer here at Digital Drafting Systems. Today's topic is New Tapered Walls in Revit 2022. Revit 2021 introduced slanted walls to our arsenal of tools for walls. This year, Autodesk has added tapered walls to these tools. With these new tapered walls in Revit, we can now design a wall with varying thicknesses, or in other words, a tapered wall. Shall we explore how they work? In this particular example, we can see a section through a wall here in the right side of our screen, and on the left side of our screen we have a couple of walls already built in. Just so we know, this particular wall is being sectioned right through here, so this wall and this wall are the same. What you'll notice is I have some text here indicating a couple of instructions. First of all positive values for the exterior are on this side when this is the exterior. All positive values for interior are on this side being the interior. So this is very important because it's actually going to explain to us or indicate to us which way we're going to be tapering this wall. So if we select the wall, the first thing we need to do is go over to the edit types, and on the edit types you will find in edit structure a section for variables. Now this is very much like doing roofs, where you have a variable and you have a tapered roof. So this is very much the same. You need to invoke at least one of these, or rather not at least, but one of these needs to be invoked to be a variable. In this case, I went ahead and said the structural component of the wall was the variable, and that is a concrete filled wall. Very well. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next step. Now that we've done that, say OK here and OK again. And then because that's on, then we back at the type properties, we will see cross-section properties has been turned on. You see this? Now, if I did not have the tapered wall, or rather the variable, in one of these layers, such as this, and I said OK, you will notice that those variable numbers, or those options, were deleted. So if I invoke them again and say OK to that, the cross-section properties are put back in place. You will also notice that apart from the exterior and interior angles, remember this is positive for the interiors, and this is positive for the exteriors. We'll also see that here, and it's only on the type properties, that we also have width measurement at, whether it's measured from the top, base, or bottoms. Okay, I'll let you to explore that. It changes the composition. Just remember that. So I'm not going to go ahead and do tapering on this one, because that in doing the tapering in this dialog box, what it will do is will make all exterior EIFS on metal studs have that taper. I just want the option. I want the tapering is done by element rather than by style. So I'm going to go ahead and say apply to this, leave that alone, say OK to that. Once that's all done, and I select my wall, I come over here to constraints, cross section, right here. And if I open that up, I have tapered, apart from slanted. You will also notice that the exterior angle and the interior angles are both grayed out, and the reason for that is because we haven't invoked the override properties. By invoking the override properties, now we can go ahead and change the value. Now, let's explain. We said before that this is the positive, this side going this way is the positive values of exterior walls. So if I come over here to exterior walls and I put in a 10-degree enter and apply, that line right here, the line of the layer, gets kind of shifted or kind of pivoted from this point out. This is the top pivot. If it's the bottom pivot, it's different. Remember about the properties dialog box of the style. Okay, that gives you the option to justify it, basically. Okay, now if I go ahead and change this value here, and I'm going to make it larger than the other one in a negative value. In other words, it's going to go, because I'm actually, let's go ahead and close this, and let's move this over to the side a little bit so we can see a little bit better. We can fix this in a moment. I'm actually going to make this line tilt this way. That's negative, considering that this is the positive side. So I'm going to give it a negative 15 here. Okay, and then hit apply, and it won't let me. So what am I trying to say with this? I'm trying to tell you that be careful these numbers, because some of these numbers might intercede, meaning this line, for example, could cross over that line, or as was the case in the larger exterior angle, this line pivoting from this point would be at a 10-degree angle. 10 would be parallel to this. 15-degree angle would cut along this side of the section that is variable. So it would come this way. And that is not permissible. So you can use a larger number here to increase it. Let's say 25. And then you can do your 15 here. Okay, and apply, and now you can do it. Now look what happens. That's positive 15, right? Let's give it a negative 15 and see where this interior wall is going. I gave it a positive, it went this way. I'm going to give it a negative now. Let's see where it goes. And look where it goes, okay? So the real thing that you have to be careful about this is basically in the values here, okay? Be careful you don't basically cross your lines. Very well, moving on. Let's go ahead and close this for now. And let's take a look at some of the effects that we have here. For example, let's see if we can actually turn this wall with an edited profile into a tapered wall. So we come over here, we go to the vertical, we say tapered, and we get a mistake, or rather an error. It's telling us an edited profile is not allowed for this wall's cross-section type, the cross-section type being the tapered. So okay, edited profiles are not allowed. So let's go ahead and select it and reset the profile, and let's see if it actually works now. Come back to vertical and say tapered, and it's telling me another error. This wall type is not compatible with the tapered cross sections. Set a layer in the wall to be variable thickness, right? So it's telling me select the object, go to the edit types, and go to the structure, just like we did on the other wall, and go in here and put it one of these layers as a variable. But look what happens. In this type of wall, all of the variables are grayed out, so these are not available here. Okay, the exact answer for this is going to come up when we actually try to do it on this one. We try to taper this curtain wall. Okay, it's a storefront, so we'll come over here to taper, and we say tapered, and it's giving me a very specific reason why it won't let me taper. The reason is the curtain wall types and stacked wall types are not allowed for this cross-section type. So curtain walls, not allowed. Stacked walls, not allowed. How do I explain this one then? Well, this one happens to be a stacked wall. It's a composite wall made up of two sections. The upper section is brick, and the lower section is poured in place concrete. So this one is not allowed because it's a stacked wall, and this one is not allowed because it is a storefront or curtain wall. Very well. Moving forward, as you can see, this wall can also be tapered because it's circular. You can have a flat section inside and an angled out section on the outside. So now that we know that we can do it on very single walls, such as this one, let's go ahead and turn this one into one of the walls that you can do it to. Let's say, let's see this one right here, right? And so I can actually come in here, go edit type, and there is my variables, as you can tell. Notice that just about everybody's putting it over here in the structural parts. Okay, now the other thing is that this is also available, and we know that this is not a stacked wall because it doesn't have double finishes at the exterior. Very well. So we know that most walls can be done. Tapered walls, not tapered walls, but rather stacked walls cannot be done. It cannot be tapered, and storefronts, curtain walls are not tapered. Okay, let's go ahead into the side view here, and what we'll do is we'll turn this into a wireframe, because now we want to see what happens to the embedded doors and the embedded windows. Let's select this window right here in this tapered wall. I've given both sides an angle so we can see how it affects everything. In this particular window, I've gone ahead and selected the orientation is slant along exterior, this being the exterior, so the face of the window will align to the exterior face. I can reverse it to the interior face, and this is what we get. Okay, or I can flatten it out, which is what we get here. Now, in the walls, it's a little bit tricky because the thickness here is going to have a direct effect on whether it cuts the opening or not. If these angles are too pronounced, then this door is not going to cut through the whole wall. So you have to be careful as to the angles that you have for interior and exterior, because I can actually do the same thing to the interior wall. You see, to the doors embedded in this wall. You see what happens. I'm going to go ahead and turn it back real temporarily, like for a hidden wall, and see what happens. It's raised now. You see that? Let's go take it back to the wireframe so we can select the door here. And watch what happens. This is going to move down once I go and say that it's vertical. You see it? So be careful with that, because yeah, you can in fact align it to both sides, but you might get some errors. Be aware of what's happening. This might have to be a ramp or something in order for you to be able to justify that angle up. Okay? Very well. With that, we have achieved the end of Tapered Walls in Revit 2022. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed the little demonstration. Hope you stay safe. Till the next one, this has been James Cuervo for Digital Drafting Systems, giving you a very warm thank you.